I call the December Harb meeting to order. Okay, I guess often the first item on the agenda is the minutes from last time, but we don't have minutes right now, so we'll hold those minutes open for next time. And the second or next item on the agenda is 301 St. David's Road. And if someone's here to discuss that project.
We were approached a few years back. We were approached a few years back to do a covered porch for...
State your name, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Stephen Foley. I work for Warren Clater Architects. And we were discussing the Rooney project at 301 St. David's Road. Like I was saying, he approached us a few years back to design a porch, wraparound covered porch for the existing home, the historic home on the corner. We did the design work, started with the survey of the existing property and documentation of all the existing details. We went into a schematic design phase, designed a porch that he was happy with, and made sure that we incorporated all the details thoroughly. We also took into consideration the amount of impervious coverage and made sure it worked with the site, scaling, and that it also resembled local houses in the neighborhood.
Is your microphone on?
Oh,
Is the microphone over there with the light on?
This one?
I
Yeah.
think so, yeah.
Can you not hear me?
That one, you could use either one, but that one, is there
Is there
a switch on there? Click the switch and then, on the microphone itself. Towards the bottom.
I don't see one.
No?
It's on, it just has to talk to you.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Okay.
Could you, while you're explaining the project, could you put the pictures of the house that you gave us on the table so that everyone can see them on the monitor? And
Yes.
also, then when you're explaining what's going on, if you could just unroll the drawings and explain those too, so that everyone can see those.
Okay, sure.
That'd be great, thanks.
What you're looking at now are drawings of the first floor plan, and it has the outline of the covered porch. This side here is the front of the house. It's the side facing through St. David's Road. This is the side yard, and this back here is the rear yard. From the front of the property on St. David's Road, this is the only portion of the porch that you will be seeing.
I think you need to speak.
I'm sorry,
I
I'm
think you
trying to
need to
show you
speak
the
in the microphone.
pictures.
You might be able to carry it over, I'm not sure.
Okay. So you'll only be seeing the porch from this side of the road here. So we were very conscious as to what we were designing from this side of the property. If you look at the photographs that we're taking, you'll see on the third page, this is the side of the house where the covered porch will be going.
Excuse me, could you move it over so we can see it on the monitor also? Great, okay, thanks.
This is the side of the property where the new covered porch will be going, with the round turret in the back. And the page before shows rear elevations of the home, and that is where the turret in the back will be going on the corner, and then also another deck area here, which is completely concealed from all sides of the road, even though the house is located on the corner of the property.
I have a question.
Yes.
In these photos that you sent us, it looks like there's other work that's going on also, that it looks like you're repairing the porch. Are you doing that?
Yes, there was an existing porch in the front, and it had weathered, and it was starting to rot. So we have shored up the porch because it's a bearing wall above. So we wanted to support the second floor and make sure that we went through and did the work properly, and were able to replace the existing members of the decking and tie them in securely into the new deck.
So that, you're simply replacing what was there?
Yes, exactly. We're not changing anything whatsoever.
Okay, good,
And
thanks.
the footprint as well.
Yes, no change to the footprint whatsoever.
I did notice that you had already demoed the bay window that was there, although you don't show, I mean, it shows up on your demo, on your existing conditions plan,
Yes.
but that was one of the, you don't show it as being demolished on your plan. I drive by there every day, so I'm very familiar with the house.
Well, you can see it on the,
Right, I don't
Yeah,
have.
you could see it, no, you could see it in the picture.
yeah.
No, I'm sorry. This set does not have the demo notes on it, but you do notice.
The other set I'm talking about,
I'm sorry?
the existing conditions set.
Yes.
Yeah, it
exactly.
shows up on there, but you don't show it as being demoed. It's a minor,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Minor
That
point.
may have this project has been ongoing for many years. We've been drawing it, and it may have been one of those things that was overlooked. But we did show in that place, we will be putting in a new French door.
go ahead.
And as you proceed through the photographs that we took, there are just other studies of homes in the neighborhood, so we're keeping it consistent with the architectural details in the area.
Can you speak a little to the balustrade portion?
Yes, well, I'm sorry.
Well, I wasn't sure if I missed seeing the detail on the drawings, or if you can even just describe the height or materials. I see the other photographs of the homes nearby. I was wondering if they were like that at all?
Absolutely. What we did is, when you flip through the drawings on page A2, page A3, we have section details. And if you read through the notes, you'll notice that all of the details are noted to match the existing profiles of the balusters, the materials, the widths and size of the beams, the trims. The only thing that would be changed is, instead of using conventional pine, we're using an AZAC material there as well. So that's
I
really-
see now.
Okay.
And the other question I have, but I think that your drawing answer to me, was the height of the turret on roof is pretty much in keeping with the existing, a little lower even? it
Oh,
looks like?
absolutely. It's only about a story and a half high structure, and it still remains below the existing roof line.
And it's standing seam copper?
Yes, that's correct.
Nice touch.
Oh, thank you.
The shingling will match the existing, and the stone will match the existing also on the
Yeah.
base?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
All materials and applications will look as it was there forever.
And the windows in the pergola, they're just open space?
Yes.
There's no
there-
windows, it's just an opening?
Exactly. There are no, there's no glass whatsoever, just an opening. So it's not enclosed at all.
Is that a rear addition?
I believe the family room was an addition in the past.
Yeah.
That wasn't something that we have done, but by the looks of it, yes, that was.
Yeah, they did a beautiful job on it. I was just curious if you had done it, because that's a beautiful job, I think.
It is very nice in keeping with the details,
Yeah.
but no, we did not do it.
I saw them when they were building that.
Yeah, I remember
Really-
that.
Really nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you already know this, and so do the owners, but we happened to look at the index, or I happened to look at the index that was put together when the National Register District was created, and the building dates 1890, but you probably know that already.
We were familiar with that,
And the
yes.
Price brothers were involved, which is pretty interesting, and
Yep.
Wendell and Smith, all of them, so pretty.
It
Nice.
is an exciting house, and it's been a lot of fun to work with, and we're looking forward to seeing.
That's
the,
great.
uh,
You can
design.
add your names to the list of famous architects now.
Absolutely. Carve it right in on the date stamp.
There you go.
This is a Price house?
It's according to the records, yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Always liked the proportions of that thing.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting project because it is located, what you're doing is located in the rear of the house. And you definitely, I don't think you'll see it from Aberdeen because of the part that juts out.
Yep.
From St. David's, you probably will see it because there's such a large open yard
Yes.
that goes there, so you will see it. But I think it's in keeping with the style of the architecture and also with other elements in the neighborhood. But generally, when I look at additions or whatever to houses, I first look at them to see whether or not the style is in keeping with the house itself, which I think it's within the period. And then beyond that, I look at other houses like you did in the neighborhood to look at the details and see if it comes up. And I think in this case, it's an interesting detail. It's definitely not something that I think most people would have thought of. But I think it's interesting.
Good, I'm glad you like it.
So I think it should be a good project.
We're excited. We are.
Any other comments?
I have one other comment.
Yes.
This is not for the record. I like their decorations in the yard.
Yeah, they have every season. Funny, I'll pass out along.
It's very festive. So when you finish this, they should put up some decoration.
Maybe it'll be around
A tree on,
Valentine's Day.
yeah, a tree on top of the roof or something. But I think it's a good project.
Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve a certificate of recommendation. Appropriateness, sorry. Appropriateness.
I second.
Any further discussion from anyone here or there? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The recommendation for the certificate of appropriateness is official. And therefore, the commissioners are now take their recommendation, they make the final decision.
Great. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is 228 South Wayne Avenue.
I think we want to scrap our project and put on a porch. That looked very beautiful. Actually, our house had a porch at one time. My name's Jeff Bajukas, and I'm, along with my wife Patty, who's here behind us, we're the owners of the house. And what we are proposing is a rear addition that would take off an existing bump out on the back of our house, and I'll put up a picture of the front and back of the house. You'll see on the picture, which is also reflected on the plans, this is the existing bump out, and the addition would take the place of that bump out and also move down the back side of the house, and it is within the rear setback, as you can see from the larger drawing. And I guess from our standpoint, we've kind of painstakingly made sure that things like the windows are matched by proportions, style, and muttons. Trims and clapboarding are matching existing trims and clapboarding on the house. It's been, the addition's been developed to work within the current setback and marry the existing one-story clapboard structure to the main residence in a way that we think makes the existing historic structure look a little bit less like an uncomfortable bump out on the back of the house. We think that the addition of and the renovation of the existing clapboarding structure on the back will relate better to the existing dormers in design, while also relating to the first floor clapboarding bay windows and existing clapboarding garage, pulling the house together, and again, in keeping with the existing architecture on the house. The side entry porch, which is found here on the new drawing, you will see in some of the additional drawings that we provided, is matching the existing side entry on the house. So again, trying to keep with the existing architecture. And then the new rear fencing that will cover existing air conditioning condensers also is consistent with fencing on the property itself.
So the existing structure that you're tying into, that was an add-on?
That was an add-on, I believe so. I think they cut through the back wall of the house to make a door entry there.
Is that like a little enclosed kind of foyer? Or
It's
back?
well, right now it's a laundry room, and it has a quarter bath. I wouldn't even call it a half bath. So what we're looking to do with the addition is to make that area into an eat-in kitchen, because the kitchen itself is fairly small and does not have an eat-in area. And as you move down laterally from left to right along the back of the house, bathroom, there's no first floor bathroom in the house, closet, because there's no closet space on the first floor of the house, and then mudroom, because there's no space for that kind of area in the existing house. The side entry literally opens up into a parlor room. So we have 3 children who have a tendency to track a tremendous amount of God knows what into the house. So,
And one last little question I had, with the photograph that you supplied, the one-story bump out as is, does it extend beyond the face of the house a little bit, or?
It does not. It actually, there's probably about a half a foot. So it is off the back corner of the house by about a half a foot.
Okay.
Maybe less than that. So you'll see in the drawing, the larger drawing, I'm not sure, let me see if I can find one.
I think it's A1.
So even A1, I think reflects the new
Yes.
with the bump out, but that existing portion is in exactly the same place. So you'll
That's
see
what I
the
was-
rear
okay.
corner of the house. It's a foot at most.
Okay.
So are you removing the existing bump out and rebuilding everything, or are you just altering it and adding a porch?
I think we're going to be tearing down the majority of it. I don't know, until we actually take down the entire bump out, I can't tell you what the foundation is like underneath it. It looks like pilings, so depending on what the contractor advises us, we may be putting in basement there, we may be pouring foundation, or I think it's doubtful we'll sit it on the existing foundation, but we won't know that until we take it down. And obviously, we'll take their recommendation as to what the best course is there.
The new bump out, I'm looking at the first floor plan, and it seems inconsistent with the elevation. By that I mean you're showing 3 large glass panel windows, and if you look on the floor plan, you're seeing like 1 window.
If you're talking about the far right hand
Correct.
on A2,
That's correct.
The notation, those are 2 actual panels. They're not clear. They're just, for clarification, they're not going to be glass. So the middle one is going to be glass. The other 2 are just panels inlaid on the exterior. And I'm not sure if I apologize if that's inconsistent with something.
I see.
I think that's consistent with the drawing on A1, which shows just 1 window in the mudroom area.
It looks like the one-room bump-out spot as is right now, where the new renovated version has a pitched roof with some of the gable end showing, kind of like the dormer, so it seems like
Exactly.
you're bringing back some of the flavor further.
That's correct. That's absolutely right. And you'll see that we tried as best we could to have those roofs conforming to the rear roof dormer, which is actually larger than the side dormers. So
Okay.
it's.
It's like a double, I can see that.
Exactly, so,
And the 9/1 pane windows is nice
exactly, that's right.
rhythm.
Are you adding skylights in
No.
that? You're not?
No.
What are the two squares on A1, on the back porch? I see the Bilko doors, new Bilko doors, and it says,
Those are existing air conditioning condensers.
oh, okay. And are they staying?
They have to stay, because my preference would be to put them on the side of the house, but unfortunately, there's only about 8 or 9 feet of room there between our next door, our neighbors to that side, and my understanding by code is that we couldn't put them there. So I think we're stuck leaving them there.
But the fencing,
But the fencing, well, they're currently not, as you can see from, you can't
Yeah, you could see.
barely see, but you can see on the picture,
Yes.
B, you can see them poking up there. There's nothing concealing them now. So, again, that would be an improvement to what we already have.
Just to go back to the foundation for a second, on the existing house, it looks from the pictures, is the foundation stone?
The foundation of the house or the bump out?
Well, of the house.
The house itself is stone.
Okay, so the foundation is stone, and then on the bump out, what is it?
The bump out appears to me to be a poured concrete underneath it, and then a series of stone pilings with concrete poured in between them. And the question for us is how far down that goes and whether or not it can continue to be used. So I'm trying to. I don't think we have a picture of the side of the house that shows you the foundation in that manner.
You can see a little bit of it in the picture, but it's not very clear.
It's it's not block. It may be stuccoed over block, but there's clearly stone that actually appears to match the stone on the house itself. There's piers that are there, and then they may have blocked in or concreted in between those piers.
So what would the new foundation be all along, along the new addition?
I think the current plan is to have that be poured concrete.
And then would that be parged with stucco, or?
That's correct. So you wouldn't see the block or anything. It would be, in essence, consistent with what we have, except there is some limited exposed stone in places on that addition, but it's not a stone foundation consistent with the house now. So we would be doing a poured concrete foundation, stuccoed, and the plan is not to have it be that high out of the ground. I mean, to have the floor itself be as low as possible. Right now, there's literally a poured concrete stair off the back of the house, which is totally out of character with the existing house. We'd be eliminating that, putting the stair on the side, and having that be bluestone, so that it would be, again, more consistent with what we have now on the existing stairways on the house.
Right. Okay.
And it says hardy plank, but for the exterior walls?
That's correct.
And is it roughly synonymous to the same width of the?
Yes, absolutely. So we would take there is some limited, it would be consistent with the existing that we're taking down, but also consistent with what you see on the upper dormers, on the sides of the upper dormers, and that comes around. There's also on the front of the house, you'll see beneath the front bump out windows, there's again, some of that is picked up there too. Unfortunately, I don't think any of that was existing on the house. There was a wraparound porch on the house that the previous owners had taken off. So a lot of this, but the front railings and things like that were there before we got there are not, I don't think are consistent with the original construction.
Yeah,
So
I think you might be right.
wraparound porch dream project someday, but we're trying to be consistent with what we think were the existing elements on the back and pick up the roof lines and things like that to make it interesting to the eye also.
I think you're definitely making some really nice choices. I wonder if there's ever been a photograph, have you ever found a photograph of,
One very grainy photograph
Really?
of the porch itself, yes, and it wrapped from the front of the house around to that side entry. So it was nice. It's regrettable that it's not there anymore. You can still, if you look at the house closely, you can see on the front of it the line where they had waxed in for sealing the top of it, and so
Yeah.
we look at it and think what it would be if it was like that. But
That's a shame.
Yeah, it's a beautiful house. I think the proportions are really nice. So I think in terms of what you're doing, it looks like you're improving the house, really. And since the addition in the back was not original to the house itself, and it's a pretty insignificant addition, even though it has a nice little diamond window, but
Right.
really there's not much there. I think what you're doing is nice and in keeping with the house, and I also think that I went by there, walked around there, and it really is not visible from any public area. So, especially given that, I think that you really are doing a nice job and you're within the guidelines, I think.
I was thinking the same thing, Secretary of Interior guidelines, which we could certainly discuss ad nauseum, discusses how if you are adding on to an historic building, keeping it, whether it's scale-wise or view shed-wise, in kind of in secondary viewpoints, so-called. And you're definitely doing a nice job scale-wise and where it is.
thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a nice project,
Thanks very much.
so,
We're excited.
well,
So having said that, does would someone like to make a motion?
Yeah. Make a motion for approval of a certificate of appropriateness.
I second.
Any further discussion? Anyone? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried, and we recommend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess next on the agenda is any old business that I guess would forms become part of that, or we,
Yeah, it could be, unless you want to talk offline.
I guess,
Might be better.
well, I guess the point is that we are still trying to work out a system, a form system to document both what's happening during the Harb meeting and to help any, after this meeting happens, before the Board of Commissioners meeting, for any of the staff to continue what has been said here tonight and get kind of an accurate description of what is repeated or said so that the commissioners can understand and you can keep track of everything. So we're kind of working through a format system, and we can work on that, and whatever we come up with, we'll all discuss that together. I think that's the only thing that I was going to say. One quick thing, in case anyone else has got this in their mailboxes. Well, I wasn't here for 2 months now, but the Delaware County Planning Department hired a consultant to do a public history survey and report of all the different house museums, historic groups involved with, let's say, Harb's historic commissions, historical societies, and there was something like 80 groups, I think, or sites, which is pretty wild. And we hired a consultant to kind of review just at what status they all are in as far as financial, organizational, are they thriving, are they failing, what kind of help might they need, what kind of visitation they have, if there's sites. And I was interviewed as a Harb person and heard a lot of interesting questions as well as, comments from them. And the report will be in, I guess, in June, and it might give all of us Harb groups some ideas about how we can proceed in the future, so I'll definitely make sure we get the report sent to us. It was definitely an interesting experience. I guess I have nothing, no other old business. That was new business, I guess, somewhat. Any new business? So we can adjourn. My favorite part of the meeting.